You're listening to the 49 Carats podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Thursday, October 24th, a lovely Thursday morning. And joining me, as always, on a Thursday is my Thursday co-host, Monica of Football is Sexy. Monica, I got to be honest with you. Something you said last week stuck with me, and I still haven't forgotten it. I've mentioned on the show since a couple of times. If the 49ers didn't win this game against the Chiefs, when would they, right? Give me your thoughts about how this game went down and how you feel about that statement now. Do you feel like it'll ever get done, or is this simply the team that owns the Niners and will always own them?
Oh, girl. It's such a
lot to process.
Do I believe? Absolutely. Okay. But our boys aren't making it easy on us. Okay. I kept thinking about our conversation as well. And I said, if not last week, when? But I didn't know Debo wasn't going to play. I didn't know, right, that Ayuk was going to have a season-ending injury. These are not excuses. These are facts. We are discombobulated. That is like the best way I can describe it. We are just discombobulated. We are just everywhere. Nothing's gelling right now. But here's the good news. I would love nothing more as a 49er fan and as a football fan. There's always two. There's like Monica Madrid, the diehard 49er fan, and there's Monica Madrid, the CEO of Football Sexy, right? Both of them would love nothing more than to have all this be a buildup for a rematch in New Orleans, Chiefs versus Niners. I would love to see it.
I can't think of something I'd want to see less, Monica. I like
no. Gotta love it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to not see the Kansas City Chiefs ever again. But these are the facts. The facts are most likely they are going to be in the Super Bowl. And do we want to be in it or do we not? Do we want to be on the couch? I don't think so.
Well, yeah. I mean, the 49ers.
We've got to get the monkey. We've got to get the monkey off our back. Right?
But that was it. That was their chance, right? Like that's what we were saying leading up to the game, that it had to be Sunday. If it wasn't then probably not going to happen. I get the 49ers were dealing with a lot of injuries, but
we're tired of the excuses, right?
I'm tired of the excuses. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
it wasn't you. It wasn't you. Right now we're just going to vent, okay? We're going to be two girls venting, okay? When the game was over, I texted my other best friend and I said, for the life of God, I do not want to hear these words out of Brock's mouth. I just need to play better. And guess what I heard?
I
need to play better.
That's his go-to.
I'm like,
when the Niners lose.
But I'm tired.
It's more than we used to get. It's more than we used to get. So I do appreciate the accountability. But I think I get you, Monica. Like it's we don't want to hear it. We want to see it, right? And see it for more than one game at a time. The 49ers still haven't won 2 games in a row. So yeah, hopefully they can.
I have to give you props. I have to give you props. I was a little more on the positive. I don't even like to say that. I was a little bit more hopeful last week, and you were very not sure, like very cautious. Let's say that. And you had every right to be. And what's really frustrating is that as a 49er faithful, you want nothing more than to beat the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. And now we're back to back with both those teams, and we're one down. But we got one more chance this Sunday. Now, taking it back for just a second, and I'm not, I'm one trying not to go back. They always say if you're living in the past, you're usually angry. Okay. But can we just talk about this for 1 second? Because I haven't heard this talked about too much. If the NFL knows that most of your fans believe that you want Kansas City to win, that you want them to be in the Super Bowls, whatever you want to call it, the Taylor effect, whatever that is, if you know that everybody's saying you guys favor the Chiefs, right? And then when we have a rematch with the Niners during regular season, why would they allow a bye before they play the rematch? If just another little I mean, is that favoritism? I don't know. But why is it like, hey, you know what? This is kind of like a not a good look. Let's not do it that week. You get what I'm saying? I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying these little things, they all matter. I mean, Andy Reid is 20-4 after the buys.
22-4 now.
20, yeah, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Steph. But yeah, I mean, it was a very disappointing loss because it wasn't just that we lost, Steph. It was how we lost. It was just ugly. I've said
yes.
it. It was ugly, and we never looked. Honestly, I was like, I don't remember seeing us look this bad in a long, I don't remember seeing us look that bad in a long time. Probably around the Chip Kelly era.
Oof.
I know. But really, think about it. I mean, I haven't seen us look that bad. I mean, there were times when we had Jimmy G, but this was just ugly. And Brock just looked shook from the moment he stepped on that field. Right. And we're not used to seeing that from Brock. By the way, I put a reel out, and the first thing I said, I only do little clips. And I said, I have to call it as I see it, but it does not make me unfaithful. It does not make me any less of a diehard football fan, but I have to call it as I see it. And so
absolutely.
This is what we do. And I had somebody jump on there and say, I am so disappointed that you would talk about Brock Purdy like that. And I said, excuse me, you must be new to the page. Go and see the 150 videos where I've done nothing but ride Brock from day one, called him our next franchise after 1 or 2 games because I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
So this is not about not being for your team, for your players, but this is calling it as we see it. And as I saw it, that was the ugliest loss I've seen in a very, very long time.
I mean, yeah, we got to be objective, right? And I understand fans aren't always objective, right? I understand. It goes both ways. There's people who, after Brock has a bad game, it's running to social media to be like, see, I was right about Brock. He's not it. He sucks. Right. I told you guys. And then there's the other side of it that's I don't know. You can look at it both ways. When he does good, everyone's like, yeah, I told you, that's just the duality of people having narratives and how those narratives kind of play out. And each and every week, a narrative dies and another is born, and I don't know. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. It's how fandom is. And this week, I think I have seen some honest takes about Brock Purdy, many that I feel myself, and I've also seen others where it's that's crazy. That's crazy to even say and suggest. Hey, Monica, we're gonna talk about those in this episode because there's. The takes are flying. The takes are flying. So I wanna put a pin on it to get my corporate speak out. We're gonna put a pin on that one.
Okay.
And for a second, let's look forward, to this game for a second, right?
Yep.
Because we talked about the injuries the 49ers are dealing with after that Chiefs game. Oh boy. Oh buddy. It's still not looking great. So yesterday the 49ers practiced for the first time this week, right?
Yep.
A lot of do not practices, right? So Kevin Givens did not practice. Jawan Jennings still dealing with that hip injury. He missed last week with that hip injury that popped up on the injury report a little later in the week. And his status for week 8 against the Cowboys now up in the air. George Kittle, foot sprain, did not practice. That one's, I don't know if he's going to be able to play on Sunday either. Jake Moody, did not practice. George Odom did not practice. Deebo Samuel, pneumonia, right? He's out of the hospital. That's the good news. It seems like he's on the mend. It seems like he was like there and in good spirits. And I believe I saw reports he was running on the side field. Did not practice, but the fact that he's even running after having pneumonia just a few days ago, I think is good. Those antibiotics are doing their thing.
Yeah.
And then for the limited players, Nick Bosa was limited, but it doesn't seem like a big concern. Jordan Mason, who's been dealing with the shoulder sprain, he was limited, but he played last week, so I'm not worried about him. Chris Conley, ankle, he was limited. So, man, this is crazy, right? Like, we didn't even talk, Monica, about the fact that Brandon Ayuk, he's gone for the season, and now you have the Jawan, and then we got Jawan Jennings hurt. We got Deebo Samuel status up in the air, Kittle up in the air. So, like, what I'm getting the sense of here is a bit of a rookie renaissance a little bit. Like, dude's going to have to step up big in this one.
And coaching. And, yeah, the rookies are going to have, like, it's time to put on the big boy pants. You don't have the luxury of being, number 4, number 3 right now. You're in.
Yeah.
You're in. So, they say you lose about 2 seconds when you go from college to NFL, right? Everything's faster, everything's harder. You don't have that time to get used to that. You got to get used to it now. I really try not to live in the past, Stephanie, but when it comes to my Niners, I go back to, let me just run this by you, Steph. If the Niners and Brandon Ayuk come to an agreement before the draft, how would that change things? Who would we have picked? Would we have still gotten a wide receiver? And this has nothing against wanting Ricky on the field. This has no. I'm just saying, would we fill a different position? Would we, you know what I mean? It just, everything, everything goes back to the chemistry. You've got, I'm okay. Here's what I'll say. I'm a believer in how things go during the off season. It's very possible it's going to go how it is in the in season. You just, training camps are important. You have to have your people there. You have to have the locker room. There has to be no like major off-field drama, because I believe it does affect the team and it does affect your locker room. And I really believe this is what we're seeing. I know we have a lot of injuries. I get that, but you just have to wonder, man. I'm just saying, I don't know, to have Brandon Ayuk out for the season, it's horrible, but you just paid the guy. You just went through all this drama and then you kind of finally gave him what he wanted, because that's and now look, it's a nightmare, really. I don't remember us being in such a predicament, such a pickle, Steph.
I mean, the last time, right, was 2020, right, when the 49ers were dealing with injuries across the board. I would say, I know a lot of people comparing it this season to 2020. Right. I would say 2020 was way worse. Like, you got to remember, Bosa was out. Like, Garoppolo was out. Like, Sherman was out. Like, dude, everyone that was good was out. Like, right now, at least we still have some of those guys especially on the defensive side. Right now, it's the offense that's hurting. We still have Brock Purdy, right? We're talking about these rookies. I mean, they're next up. They got to be next up. Kyle Shanahan, was kind of briefly asked about the rookies in his presser yesterday, and he said, quote, "I really liked our rookie class. They've been strong since the beginning. I was real impressed with them through training camp. I am now, but we were excited with how they practiced and everything and knew they'd give us some depth. And now some are getting some opportunities because of injury, and I'm glad we have a good group there. I think they'll be ready for the challenge, and they seem like a tight group," end quote. So, I mean, hey, if it's on need that they're going out there and they're getting their opportunity, so be it, right? Like I actually love that they're getting this chance to speed up that process of that progress, because like a lot of times with these receivers, these rookie receivers under Kyle Shanahan, they take some time, right? Like it takes them at least a year for Kyle to be like, okay, now you can get out there. But now it's like we need them, so they got to be out there and they got to contribute right away. So it's going to speed up the learning curve a little bit for these guys, and we're going to see what they're made of pretty quickly. The thing I like about the rookies is that they don't care what has happened in the past with this team. Like they're coming into it with a clean slate, right? So I kind of love that. They're bringing in new energy, and they could potentially bring in a new identity even for this team on the offensive side of the ball. At least when we look at this game against the Cowboys, when we figure that they're probably going to get significant playing time. I don't know what's going to happen after that because, like I said, Debo, Juwan Jennings probably back after the bye, Kittle, maybe even Christian McCaffrey. But I like how this is setting up for them to get more playing time against the Cowboys. Cowboys struggling too, so this is a good spot for them, I think.
Steph, it's about to look like a preseason game is what it's about to look like. And but it's going to be in season. My goodness. Oh my goodness. But you know what? Again, here's what, like you said, and a lot of people are talking about how, it looks like the 2020 season, but at the end of the day, I think that we still can be a contender, right? Our division sucks.
You think so?
Let's be honest. Yeah. The Rams are not no bueno. Arizona, they're going to barely, Seattle. So really the only people we need to really be concerned about maybe are the Hawks, right? The Seahawks. So we could win our division. We might have to play 3 games versus 2. We could end up a wild card. That's a possibility. It's the truth. But then we win 1 game. Okay. Then we go to the NFC Championship, right? I mean, it could happen, it just might take us more games than we'd like. We'd prefer to be the number 1 seed. We'd prefer to have that bye, especially with all of our injuries, the way we have it, going down lately would we like that? Absolutely. But we might have to scrape and fight for every touchdown, every extra point, every field goal. And my thought is this, like, I really think Shanahan needs to be aggressive for the rest of the season. The time for being conservative and field goals and all that is not the way. Rams
you want them to go for it on 4th down. Like, is that what you're saying? Like,
I'm just saying, well, it's hard now because now even our kickers situation, it's very, in a perfect world, my whole thing, even on those last games with versus the Rams and the Cardinals, it was like there were times when I was like, go for it. Like, we just have to be better in the red zone. Like, we have to get in. I remember, what game was it where we had a great long play and it was like ended up on the 10-yard line, the 8-yard line. And I was like, we're not going to get in. Like, I was like, I wasn't even, I was just like,
you're right there.
You're right there. And I wish he would have, I'm like, he needed to score a touchdown because we're not going to get in. And guess what happened? We didn't get in. And here's this great, great long play. I can't remember who it was. And I'm like, and I knew, I was like, I looked at my BFF. I go, we needed to get in. We're going to end up with 3 points. And sure enough, that's what we ended up with. it's just, oh my God, the sleepless nights. But I believe, Steph, I still believe it's just going to be harder and uglier. But listen, we're going to get CMC back. At some point, we're going to get Juwan back. At some point, we're going to have Debo healthy, like Greenlaw, like it just, we got to start looking good now. Like here's where we're at. Our margin for error has passed. We're out of this game didn't really matter. We're out of those. Every game right now from here on out matters. Every quarter, every turnover, every halftime. And don't forget, Steph, last year we were down both games, Green Bay, Detroit. Like, we have the grit. We just got to find it, and we got to put it on the field for the next however many games we have left. Like, it has to happen.
Yeah, I agree, which is like, I know some people say I'm over dramatic because the way I react early in the season when the 49ers don't start fast, but this is why, because like I hate that they put themselves in a position where now you're in desperation mode. Now you have to win every game. And oh, look, the second half of your schedule is one of the toughest in the entire league, and that's what worries me. I hate that they put themselves in this position. It almost, to an extent, it feels like they enjoy putting themselves in that position because they want to feel something. They want to feel like they're fighting for something, right? This team has been good and competitive for as long as it's been. I don't want to say it gets boring, right? I don't think that's the right word, but I think every season you kind of need to find a new purpose, and I think they create adversity for themselves
I'll give them a freaking purse. Here's the purpose. Here's the purpose. If you need it, I'm tired of putting #6th ring. Please.
Don't do it. That's a curse.
Oh, I don't do it anymore. I haven't done it all year. I'm so sick of talking about the 6th ring, damn it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We need to forget about that one. It's gone. All right. Well, before we get into talking about the Brock Purdy stuff, there's just one thing that, came across yesterday that I wanted to discuss because this is kind of big, right? Robert Saleh was seen at Packers practice yesterday, and you see him here. He's just kind of chilling in the background watching, and he's watching the offense, which is interesting, right? So everyone was kind of speculating, like he's been hired by them. After practice, Matt LaFleur spoke with the media, and he said that they're bringing him on board as, it seems like, an offensive consultant, actually, that they're going to use for Saleh to pretty much evaluate their offense and be like, okay, here's how a team would attack you. You should do this instead. Or I don't know. Yeah, just something along those lines. So anyway, Robert Saleh off the market for now. Although as a consultant, he could technically maybe work with a couple of teams. I don't know how that would work, but I only say that because this morning, I think it was Tom Pelissero from NFL Network, he kind of threw that out there, that there could be other teams that he works with. And I was like, I've never heard of that. Like, even if you were a consultant for a team, usually you would just be with that team. Cause like, I don't know, that's a conflict, right? And then you could be feeding different teams different information. I don't know how that would work, but it was interesting he said that. So I was like, oh, okay. But for now, it seems like he's going to be with the Packers. That's kind of, I don't like that.
I don't like it. I get it. They were best friends in Matt's wedding, and so they're buddies. They go way back, and a lot of these guys do go way back with each other. They come out, in college together. They've coached together, whatever that is. A lot of these guys, their families know each other. So when one gets fired, they're gonna usually reach out. That just seems to be what the brotherhood, right? And which would lead me to our boys, our Niners. What are we doing? Are we going to make any trades before November 5th? I believe it is. What is happening? What is the plan? Can somebody, I need to call John. Can somebody text me his number? I need to talk to John. I need to figure out what our plan is, or are we sticking with this roster all the way through?
They have some time, right? I mean, I think this game against the Cowboys will tell them a lot about what this team is going to be going forward. Because if this team can't be the Cowboys at the current state of the Cowboys, that's troubling, and that I wouldn't invest in that personally, right? And I know you said, Monica, you still feel like the 49ers could contend this season. I'm not feeling as confident. When I say contend, I'm talking about Super Bowl, right? Like, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think the 49ers are a Super Bowl contending team this season. To me, I agree they could win the division. They could be a wild card team, right? But I don't think they'll make it that far to be a Super Bowl contending team. But that's just my thought. On the same token, if the 49ers do win this game, though, against the Cowboys, then there's something worth fighting for. And I think now you have an obvious need maybe at wide receiver. You still have a need at edge rusher, right? You could always use some more pass rush. So I wouldn't be mad, right, if the 49ers decided to trade for someone. But I think they want to see what happens with this game first before, I guess, making that call. And they do have time, because I think the trade deadline is a couple days after Halloween or something like that. So
I think it's November 5th. I think somewhere in the beginning of November.
Yeah, so they have
But
time.
We do have time, but it's sure I'm wondering, what the thought process is, because let's be honest, we are having issues in all three phases. In all three phases,
yeah.
We're on our third kicker, and I love our boys, but where was Fred last week?
Guarding Kelsey. I mean, Kelsey didn't do shit in that game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like, there was some missed tackles that normally he wouldn't miss. I just feel like nobody really fears us right now.
Yeah.
I
mean, I wouldn't fear the Niners right now.
Right. I mean, that's right. But like, how many, I haven't looked this up, but like, Nick Bosa, he's doing his thing, but like, I didn't see Mahomes on his back Sunday. There was a couple of him running out of the pocket, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And it's not like we're putting blame. It's just, I feel like nobody is their best right now. I think if somebody would have asked me if I could sum up our team right now, I think I just did that. Nobody that I saw from last Sunday is at their best, whether it's for injuries or whether it just is what it is. Like, but when we're at our best, we are a Super Bowl contending team. But right now, that's not what we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It was an ugly game, right? And I think we're hoping this game against the Cowboys will be a get-right game for the 49ers. That's what they need, especially going into the bye week. Then you look at the bye week, you're like, okay, we can get healthier. We can get some guys back and, look forward to this tough gauntlet that they have after the bye week and be like, okay, we're ready to handle that now. So yeah, but something needs to change, right? Like, we're talking about the offense and, how they can't seem to score in the red zone. Huge issue for this team. They have no problem getting to the red zone. So it's just discouraging, right? You can't finish. You can't finish. Execution problems, at times sloppy. So I don't know. They're just all over the place. I think you might have said this word earlier, but it's one of my favorite words, so I'm going to use it too. Discombobulated, right? It's what that's what this team looks like.
I think my grandma used that. I think I got that word from my grandma. I don't even know how to spell. I don't even know how to spell it, but that's what we're at. That's where we're at right now.
That's where we're at. And hopefully we don't have to learn to spell it because, we'd be
Yeah.
saying
Wait,
it too
Steph,
much about this
I
team.
have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a serious question. If you're the special teams coach, knowing that we lost 2 kickers to tackles, do you tell your kicker, I don't care what happens, if you can't trip that guy, let him go? Or what is that conversation, I wonder, with our special coach to our kicker?
Well,
Because we've lost 2 kickers and
yeah.
not and in their defense, they were trying to stop a touchdown, right? They were,
Yeah.
would you say, "Hey, I just rather you let it go"? Or do you say,
If I was the special teams coach, I would not focus on coaching the kicker on whether to
right?
tackle or not. I'd
How
focus
about
on
you coach
getting
all the other people to tackle,
exactly.
right? Okay,
Exactly.
I
That's my
like
thing.
that. And so here's what we're
That's
gonna
how it's
do.
gonna be.
Here's what I'm gonna do. We go to our special teams and be like, listen, if our kicker has to tackle, all of you are fired. They're gone. Like, what the hell?
Well,
Like,
I
dude,
would
you're right. Like, you're so right. Like, I had nightmares about that. Like, our kicker shouldn't be. I don't know if you saw the reel I did. I'm like, we shouldn't. Our kickers should not be in that position game after game after game.
right. Right. And I'm going to tell you something that won't make you feel any better. The 49ers special teams DVOA. DVOA is like this it's like a stat that takes into account a lot of context. So like the team they're playing against, what down and distance, all those things, right? So it's a pretty sound stat or number to go off of. The 49ers special teams DVOA is 31st in the league. The Cowboys is first. So they have a really good special teams unit.
Yeah.
So that's where I would be concerned in this game, right? Obviously, I think the 49ers own this team everywhere else. Like, I'm not worried about Dak Prescott. I'm not worried about a Micah Parsons-less Cowboys defense. Even if he was there, okay, whatever. But that could be the difference in this game, right? Special teams. And I would hate for that. I would hate for that. But everyone who has been listening to this show knows how I feel about Brian Schneider and how much longer he should be on this team. And look, I'm getting the sense, I'll just throw this out. I'm getting the sense that Kyle's getting fed up. Like that's the sense I'm getting. He was asked about special teams twice on Sunday. He said, like, hey, like, we're pretty much seeing the same things you guys are. Like, they're not doing well, right? So I don't know. I'm looking at the bye week, like, that's one opportunity to let him go.
Right.
Same.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. It could happen. It could happen. And can I would prefer that Kyle also cuts his hair, because the long hair is not working for us. I want a new Kyle Shanahan. I want to go.
Why is everyone saying that?
I didn't know that. Is everyone saying that? Because it looks weird. A lot of
people saying that.
I didn't know that. First of all, it looks weird on the sideline with the hat. Let's just go. It's not sexy.
I kind of like it.
No.
Right.
On the bye, I want a new haircut. That's what I want.
Okay.
I want a new attitude. I want Patti LaBelle. Everybody do something different on that bye. And when we come out, like, we got a new feel, a new look, and let's get this second half of the season and let's go. And I'm glad you record this, Steph, because when we are in the damn playoff championships, we can play this back. Okay.
I keep the receipts. You know that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Kyle needs to bring back the mustache maybe after the bye week. I like the mustache. I think it was a cool look. But anyway, all right, let's get into the overreactions that we're seeing from people regarding the 49ers, regarding Brock Purdy. Look, I got to be honest with you. I was saying all kinds of stuff after this game, and anyone who's been listening to the show this week knows, like, I I'm not as positive right now as I have been in the past, right? That's what happens when my team looks this way. But I'll say this. I'm seeing people just go too far with it, right? There was this piece on The Athletic, all right? And it was by Mike Sando. And in it, an anonymous NFL executive said this, quote, they need to make a decision about whether they should just be moving on from this older core and building around Purdy, or do they trade Purdy, get stuff for him, and go with a cheaper option at quarterback, end quote. That is real quote from anonymous NFL executive. This is someone among them that feels this way about Brock and maybe this team as well. So I thought that was crazy. Like, what? Trading Purdy?
What do you think?
What do you mean, what do I think? I don't think you should trade Purdy. Like, okay, Monica, let's go back a couple weeks of our conversation about Brock Purdy, right? What did we say about just like these next few games, right? Or like we were like, the season is a career-defining year for Brock Purdy.
$10 million difference right now.
Yeah, could be, right? So I'm thinking about that conversation as well, and I'm thinking we have a little more
after that game.
context.
I was down 8 million. I said, well, now you're down to 50, 51, 52 million. If I'm an owner, I'm like, nah, 51, 52. We're not at 60 right now.
You're not at 60. That's what I'm saying, right? Like we have more information on Brock Purdy. We have more context. Right. We're going to continue to get that throughout the year, especially now without Brandon Ayuk, especially the first half of the season when he didn't have Christian McCaffrey, right? All those things matter. All those things you got to take into account if you're an NFL front office. I'm not here saying 49ers should move on from Brock Purdy, but I would not make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. You can't. There's absolutely no way. He does not look to be deserving of that. I still like Brock Purdy. I still think he's good. I just don't think he deserves to get that mega contract that we were talking about he'd be getting in the offseason, right? Both of those things can be true at the same time. I'm not ready to go here and say they should get rid of Purdy. They should trade Purdy. Like, that's just ludicrous, in my opinion.
Yeah. Look, every good quarterback has bad games. And the question is, how often has he had really ugly games? And it's not often. I think here's what I would like to do, Stephen. You're probably going to laugh at me. You know, you'll hear me say this all the time. We send people to the moon, so there's got to be a way. I'm just saying, is there a growth pill in any way, shape, or form? Can we get like 2 to 3 more inches on Brock? That's all I want. I would love it if he was just a little bit taller, because there would be less batted balls, Steph. I'm telling you, but we have to work with what we have to work with. And I get it. But no, Brock Purdy's staying. I don't see that happening.
You haven't seen those surgeries of like dudes getting like, I don't even know what it is. Like their bones expanded. No, that is, it's crazy. Like, I don't want to get into a rabbit hole here, but like dudes got to learn to walk again. Like from the surgery.
There's got to be lifts. There are lifts for cleats. Let's dude, we could make millions. We should talk about this off camera. We should talk about lifts for cleats. I can see it now. Well, I'm gonna go get the domain.
Cleats. That's insane.
My poor boy. Listen, I'm excited for this game because I think it's a statement game. It doesn't matter how many injuries are on both sides of the ball. It's a rivalry game. And I just want to see Brock get back to being Brock. I want him to shake this off. And this is really big for him, Steph. For these next games, Dallas, Seahawks, he cannot have games like he had last Sunday, because if we have a consistent, we need to shake this off, and we need to see back to 100 QBR. We need to see back to, that confidence that we're used to seeing in the pocket. We need to see that confidence in the huddle. We didn't see that. He looked shook last Sunday, right? He did. And it gave me like Jimmy G flashbacks, and I don't want Jimmy G flashbacks. I really don't. I can't afford it. My heart can't take it. Can't take it. So I want to see my Brock back. This is a like you said, a get right game. It really is. And if Brock wants that big contract, this is the season that's going to define how much. I don't think we trade him, but we definitely have room to not be paying 60 million. Like, that's not going to happen. Not at this rate.
The case that the 49ers are preparing themselves to make this offseason for why he doesn't deserve that 60 mil is growing, right? Like, they're taking notes. They're taking notes. And we know the 49ers play hardball. So
hey, every week we should do that. Right now,
write down
what
all the
would
reasons.
Monica and Steph be paying Brock? So right now I think we're at like 49. We like
49. You were just saying like 50 something.
51. I just went down to because he reminded me of Jimmy G. I just docked him $3 more million for giving me Jimmy G vibes, and now you're down to 49.
he gave you the Jimmy G ick. I'm dead. Oh,
that's -3. That's -3 mil right there when you give me Jimmy G vibes. Let's see if he can bring that up after this game. Okay.
Oh no. All right. Well, we're all jokes here. I mean, like, no one come at us too crazy, but
we gotta have fun. We gotta
have fun. We're talking about some of these situations here, but
we love Brock. I've got 150,000 videos saying how much I love this guy and believe in this guy. It doesn't change, but I have to call it as I see it. And he has to know he had a terrible game. We're not saying anything different than Stephen A. and everybody else. So if they want to come at us, go for it. But like, the facts are the facts.
The facts are the facts. That's a bar.
Right?
And yeah, so I think we need to have more nuance, I think, in these conversations to just know, like, hey, we got to call it how we see it. That doesn't mean we want to get rid of said player. That doesn't mean we want to get rid of said coach, because, like, Kyle Shanahan kind of under the same scrutiny right now too, and he's deserving of it, right? But like, that doesn't mean like everyone that criticizes Kyle Shanahan for something wants to see him get fired, right? So that's where we're at right now. But Monica, we're about 42 minutes here. Let's get to Trash Talk Thursday. I want to give
you our faces.
Well, you know where this is going. You know where this is going. So last week, here's what you had to say about the Chiefs game.
You keep the receipts. I'm writing for my team, and I'm putting it out there, and I'm going to go with 28-17. We got to make a statement. And we cannot do that by kicking field goals after field goal after field goal. So I'm counting on the fact that as many times as we have not come out with 6 points in the red zone, that we do that this game.
I mean, you were right about something, Monica. I was actually impressed that your score prediction was really close to the final score. It was just for the wrong team.
Right. Right? What was the final score? Remind me, because I know it was close.
It was 28-18. You said 28-17 was your prediction.
Give me some love.
Again,
I just thought it was going to be us.
Wrong team.
I know, but those are just semantics.
And you know what? Like, you were right about the fact that you did say, like, this has to be the game where they actually score touchdowns instead of field goals. What did we see in that game? Field goals continued, right? And we saw more turnovers. So that's kind of what led to the 49ers not getting that score prediction that you predicted. But let's see what defense. In my defense,
two interceptions in the red zone. That could have been 14.
No, seriously, like, points were there. Points were there to be had. We talk about the 2 deep balls to George Kittle and Jacob Cowing. Those should have been walk-in touchdowns if they weren't underthrown, right? So, yes, absolutely. And look, I've been saying a lot of things about Kyle, but he did dial those up. Those were available to Brock to make, and they, So again, part of the reason is execution. Part of the reason
49 million.
Brock,
49 million.
49. Is you about to docket one more? Just
Yeah,
this
48
conversation.
because you're reminding me more. By the time we get off the show, how many minutes we got left? 4. He could be at 45. Keep talking. I'm docking. I'm docking. Keep talking. I'm docking.
Keep talking. I'm docking. Wow. Okay. We're gonna stop talking about Brock right now.
Yes, we are.
So he can keep his 49 or 48 million.
Yeah.
Let's see what Cowboy fans are saying about this game on this edition of Trash Talk Thursday. So I went over to Cowboys Reddit. It's a scary place. It's a sad place, actually. Like they got a lot to be angry about. I'll just say that. Ashley Baker, the homie on Twitter. I know I've seen her on Instagram too. She follows Football is Sexy. Anyway, she said Niner fans want to be like Cowboy fans so bad, being down bad. Shut up. Like 49er fans want to be oppressed so bad as a team. Like we think we got problems. We think we got problems. We really don't when you compare to some other teams like the Cowboys. Like some poverty franchises that are out there. So perspective is important. Another user said the only way to win is to wear Chiefs jerseys. Whew. That one got a chuckle out of me. I mean,
wow.
He kind of has a point.
Oh my God.
Kind of has a point. All right. Another user said 3 things Dallas needs to do to beat the 49ers. Number 1, rush for over 100 yards. 2, convert for touchdowns in the red zone. 3, hold the Niners under 115 rushing yards. This sounds like the 49ers like keys to winning the game too. So it's kind of funny how these teams are kind of struggling with some of the same things. Do you think that the Cowboys do any of these 3 things or all 3 of these things in this game? Because I think the 49ers defense has been improving. It's still not the best, right? It's still not the standard we're used to seeing it at, but it's still good. I think it's certainly capable of stopping this Cowboys offense.
I honestly, Steph, I sure hope so. Like I'm tired. Like I'm tired of being run on, being disrespected. We didn't even talk about that. The disrespect that they tried to show us on our own field, although I'm not shocked, I was very excited that we actually stopped the fake punt. Couldn't believe we stopped it.
Right.
Tried to throw it down the field, air it out right after the halftime. These are the things you have to be. And that was one good thing that the Niners did, right? Defensively. So I'm not afraid of their run game. What do you got? Zeke? You know what I mean? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. We think we have problems. If I was a Dallas fan, I would be beside myself of why you did not sign Derrick Henry. Like I would be beside myself, who lived in Texas, by the way, who wanted to be a Cowboy. Like I'm not going to talk about the Cowboys issues, but I'm just saying, I don't think we're afraid of them. I think I'm more afraid of ourselves than I am of the Cowboys.
That's a great point. And yes, I think we were talking about earlier, like there aren't a lot of teams that are afraid of the 49ers right now. And I don't think we would blame them for that. Right. But I think if there's one team that would still be afraid of the Niners, it would be this Cowboys team. Like I think so. Like, I think there's just a lot of self-doubt. I think you add on the fact that they haven't beat this team in like the last 3-4 matchups, however many it's been.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's the mental hurdle we've been talking about, right?
Exactly. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I would take my statement yesterday, my question last week. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, I say, if not this Sunday, when? If the Cowboys can't beat the Niners this Sunday, when? We're at our lowest right now. I'm just saying, like, if I was a Cowboy fan, I'd be like, man, if we don't beat, I would be hungry like we were with the Chiefs game, Dak is always good for 3 interceptions, right? And here's our thing, like, we're going to get the 3 interceptions, but I don't want 9 points.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I
That's
want
what I'm saying.
21 points.
Because what did the 49ers get last week? They got 2 picks on Patrick Mahomes, right?
And nothing.
Yeah, I mean, field goals, nothing. Like, yeah, they have to make it, especially against this Cowboys defense that is struggling right now. Like, again, I don't want to hear the excuses. I know the 49ers are hurting, right? But they need to find something, conjure up something,
Steph,
and this is the team to do it against.
Steph, do you remember this team called the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady? They had injuries, and you know what it was? Next man up. And that was one of the best well-coached teams ever. And I remember back in the day going, man, like no matter who's on that field, they look like starters. They look ready. And the Belichick way, whatever that was in practice that we never saw, translated on the field, right? And we have to figure out how to have that same recipe because, and I don't know what it is, but like I go back to coaching, like at some point you've got to have these guys ready. I'm so sick of hearing plug and play, plug and play. Ain't no one fucking playing. Like, sorry, but like plug and play. Okay, but playing good or not? You know what I mean? Like, we have to have that mentality of next man up. And there has to be this coaching, this mental, like part of it. Like, dude, when we call your number, I expect you to be good. I expect you to know your routes. Like the expectation of the players has to be there. And I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know if it is or it isn't. But I'm just saying, when I just go back to what I've seen as a fan, and as a fan, I remember the Patriots, they never skipped a beat. Never, not even when Drew Bledsoe went down, then Tom Brady came out and you never saw Drew again. There's like you know what I mean? So it's just, I remember so many times when one of their guys would go down, the next guy was up, and then all of a sudden there's a new star. So it just has to be that mentality of expectations and not letting these guys come out and be like, oh, we're going to give you an excuse because you're a rookie. No, you're wearing Niner colors. You're on the team, you're on the squad, and we expect you to be great and do your job. I hate to say it, take Bill Belichick's, word, but like, do your job. Special teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you actually mentioned that because I just saw literally this week, like Brady and Bill Belichick were both on a podcast and they were kind of talking about that because I think they were talking about the 49ers and just like all the injuries they were dealing with. And Brady's like, yeah, like we dealt with a lot of injuries and we had guys.
I didn't even know that.
I
didn't even know that.
Nobody's like coming in and playing. And I'll try to find the clip because like, yeah, it did come across my feed this week. But I mean, it's a great point.
I didn't even know that, Steph.
It's got to be next man up.
It's good to know. It's good to know I'm on the I'm talking like Brady. This is good news for me.
Is quite the ego boost for anybody.
Oh,
I'm
kidding. But I do, a lot of people might not like what we're saying, but you know what? It's the truth. It's our truth, and it doesn't make us any less of Niner fans. Like, we are diehard. I'm gonna be rooting for my team till the day I'm buried, and then some. But I'm hoping that we can pull it together. I'm a little bit more optimistic. That's what makes this show so good, is that we both balance each other out, I think, and yeah, I mean, you get two different takes, two girls just talking Niners. I love it.
Two girls talking Niners. Well, yeah, I'll try to find that video and post it. But did you, I mean, I'm sure you watched the broadcast, right? Like Tom Brady was the commentator. He did not mince any words when he was talking about Brock. He was calling it how he saw it. He was like, ooh, like that's underthrown. Like he was letting it fly a little bit in his critique, I think, of Brock.
I think he was shocked.
You think he was shocked?
Yeah, I do. I think he was a little shocked too. I think he, like you said, he was kind of like, ooh, Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they had
Yeah.
just talked on the field. I think they had dapped it up before the game. And then that must be a lot of pressure too, for Brock coming in. Everybody knows that this is like the big game, the game of the week, your rematch. Then you lose both your wide receivers that you didn't plan on losing. Okay, you didn't plan on losing Debo. You didn't plan on losing Brandon Ayuk. So I get that. But he seemed like that in the very beginning, even. So, and then knowing Tom Brady's in the booth, and I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of pressure, but this is what you get paid. I was gonna say this is what you get paid the big bucks for, but with him, this is what you're hoping to get paid the big bucks for, right? So right now we still got him under 900 and whatever thousand, but I believe, but everybody's got to go. I feel like there's about to be a player meeting if there already hasn't happened, right? There's you know what I mean? Like all the vets got to get going and get that team riled up for this Sunday. George Kittle probably being the guy to do it. Maybe Fred Warner, somebody, Trent, somebody's got to like get that team like really motivated to make a statement.
Yep, I agree. And while you were talking, I did find the clip of one second, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick speaking. So I'm gonna just play it real quick.
Okay, cool.
Good teams really understand this is what we got to do. We got to make play in the kicking game, and they find a way to do it. So got to give the Chiefs credit. It might be winning ugly, but they're winning. And you look at like some of the games that we were part of, Coach, where you were putting like Don Davis at safety, you were putting Troy Brown at nickel cornerback, Julian Edelman was playing nickel cornerback. Our teams always had guys that were really versatile players, and we looked for guys that were really smart. Even I look at that like Kansas City defense. They have a lot of smart, tough, physical players. They play well within the scheme. They're all able to adjust. Nothing's too much. They all step up when they're needed. And I think that's really the mark of a great team. And again, winning ugly, winning that way, they look pretty freaking excited at the end of yesterday's game. Those good teams.
So sorry to say, it was actually that they were talking about the Chiefs and kind of comparing how they've been looking so far to the Patriots. But it's true, right? And that's what the 49ers kind of need as well. Just some of that next man up mentality, and we're going to make it work regardless of who's out there. Right. So, but Monica, let's get to the last piece of our show here. $10 trivia. If you guys don't know, we always ask a question here. You win $10. First person who gets this correct in the live chat. So make sure that you get your guesses in, and we'll crown the winner. But in the meantime, me and Monica are going to give our score predictions. Monica, this week I have 2 score predictions, and I'm okay if you have 2 as well, because whenever there's a week that has a lot of injuries like this, I mean, that undoubtedly could impact the score of this game and how it looks, right? So if Juwan Jennings, if Debo, if Kittle miss this game, I think the score will be 22-17. 49ers still win, but obviously low scoring a little bit for those teams. But if any of Kittle or Juwan Jennings or Debo plays in this game, then I have the 49ers scoring 30 against this lowly Cowboys defense, and the Cowboys with 21.
Okay. I'm going to go with, I'm feeling over 30. I'm feeling, sadly, there'll be turnovers that turn into points. Especially with Dak, to be honest. So, I'm going to go with like 34. I don't know. I feel like somebody's going to pull away. I hope it's us. I'm going to go with like 34, 20, 27.
Man, you're going high scoring.
I do.
You think it's going to be a shootout?
You know why? Because I feel like I don't know that there's going to be a lot of defense on that field. Both teams need to score, need to like air it out, and I think there's going to be some turnovers. So I wouldn't like if first half I could see 17-3, 17-10. Damn. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we shall see. I do think that with both of these offenses kind of struggling to score, I think that's why I'm predicting the lower score. But I mean, yeah, the Cowboys defense isn't that great. Like, I was looking at this, Monica, right now. The Cowboys defense is allowing the second highest red zone scoring percentage. Whenever opponents are in the red zone, the opponent scores 73.68% of the time. I like those odds. I like
Right.
those odds for the 49ers. I like them being able to actually score some points in the red zone in this game and maybe not get as many field goals. And this is another game where, like you said, I'd look for Kyle to be a little more aggressive. Like, hey, you have 4 tries at punching this in. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that 4th try against this Cowboys defense if I don't get it on the first 3.
And for the life of me, I feel like we kind of keep going. When we should run it, we're passing it. And when we're passing it, we should run it. Like, I hope we get this right on this game. And I can hear, you know what I'm saying?
The Cowboys run defense is awful.
Right.
Awful.
So let's go, Mason. Let's go. I'd like to see, we'll see who's in, but I could hear my dad right now, who's up in heaven, as you know, saying, we're due. That was his favorite line. We're due. We're due. Yep. And I feel like we're going to put up some points, and we're going to be everyone's going to be talking about us Monday morning going, okay, can they make a run? Can they do it? It seems, I feel like that's going to be all like, but one step at a time, one quarter at a time. I may or may not be at the game. I should know by tomorrow. We'll see. Are you going?
Nah, as of right now, I don't have any plans to go to any more games. We'll see. We'll always play by ear, so
right. Yeah,
we'll see. But all right, let's get back to this $10 trivia. The first person to get it right in the chat. Well, first of all, it was the Dallas Cowboys who the 49ers beat. So we got a winner, Ken S in the live chat. Congratulations, Ken. I'm going to throw this up here. So send me a request either on Venmo or Zelle, whatever you prefer, to get those $10, and I'll send it in your preferred method, either Venmo or Zelle. Only Ken, guys. Only Ken.
Okay, don't get crazy.
Don't be trying to sneak in any requests, all right? Yeah,
right?
Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy here, all right? But everyone that tuned in, appreciate you guys so much. You guys always keep the live chat popping. We love that. It was a fun show today. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, everyone, have a good rest of your Thursday, folks. From me, from Monica, peace.
Let's go.